So y'all remember that post that I made, right? About Xbox making hardware, AMD saying that they are actually partnering with Xbox to make this hardware, but the PlayStation fanboys continue to foment that Xbox is leaving the hardware business. What's even crazy is when you actually put all this in whatever perspective you want, there's an Xbox handheld console PC that's coming out in about 9 days. Like Xbox hardware, Xbox and Asus hardware for gaming, with Xbox having modified a new update for Windows to enable gaming to be more streamlined, which sounds very similar to what they had promised, is coming out this October. And there are still people who are fomenting this lie. You feel me? The next generation of Xbox consoles has its first iteration coming out in about 9 days, and there are people still talking this jargon out there. That's it. That's the world that we're living in. So what happened? Porter Rock, shout out to you, quoted that tweet. He said, "It's like the Titanic. All the money to build it, sells tickets, and launch with the passengers was all executed. Then it hit an iceberg. Now there is no value staying on the Titanic. All business arrangements no longer hold value. Time to abandon ship. There's a new CEO." Well, I replied, every time Porter Rock speaks, I remind him that he's the next PC gamer. Do you know why? Once upon a time, Helldivers 2 launched. When Helldivers 2 launched, I was thinking in my head, how are the PlayStation gamers dealing with this game anyways? What was I actually, in my mind? Helldivers 2 required for the PlayStation gamer to pay for PlayStation Plus. Do you hear what I mean? It required the PlayStation gamer to pay for PlayStation Plus. But for the PC gamer, no such requirement was there. Now, if you play on Xbox, this is what I've always told you, you also fall into this category. Xbox is the Call of Duty owner, right? And also the Diablo owner, and also the Sea of Thieves owner, and also the owner of other live service titles. I believe, and I argue, that it is also an injustice to you, the Xbox gamer, to pay to play online, while PC players can actually play online for free. However, I will give to you, the Xbox gamer, that at any moment in time, you can choose not to pay to play Xbox games online and dial into the PC version. So at least you have an option. The PlayStation gamer has no such option. So that was Porter Rock's first complaint about Helldivers 2. And there was no requirement for a PlayStation Plus account, remember? It launched, they were like, well, we're not going to put the PlayStation Plus account requirement, but we're going to put it on later, PlayStation Network account. And then once they tried to do it, PC community basically called their bluff and taught them how to be much more consumer friendly. People started blocking PlayStation in general. I remember watching a big streamer you can actually ignore a whole publisher. You can literally go on Steam and say, I don't want to see this publisher ever again. If you go to the options, you can click ignore this creator, and you will never see a PlayStation game ever again. People ghosted PlayStation after that. It won't show up on your feed. And so PlayStation looked and said, this is a disaster. After a while, as Spider-Man 2 was about to come out, they dropped that so-called PlayStation Network requirement. Then, and that was just the first set of, complaints that Porter Rock had about PlayStation. Well, guess what? PlayStation not only stopped there, they went ahead and announced the launch of Helldivers 2 for Xbox. Well, guess what? Porter Rock also raised another concern where he said, can you believe that this game is going to Xbox and we on PlayStation Plus don't have that? I remember your arguments, Porter Rock. I actually listened to it and I was like, that sounds like a PC player. And he said, we on PlayStation don't have Helldivers 2 in a subscription service, whereas Game Pass, I remember, they get their own first-party games, whether they be single player or live service. Puerto Rock, if you're watching this video, if any of you are watching this video that knows Puerto Rock, ask him if he remembers that argument. If you want, you can go on his channel and look for Helldivers 2 announcements around June of this year. When he made those arguments, that's when I was like, wow, that sounded almost exactly like the arguments that I made before I got up and went to PC. And I said, from the moment you complained about Helldivers 2 on PC not needing a subscription fee, you showed that you're the next PC gamer. That's literally how it started for me in 2016. I saw PC gamers playing The Division, didn't have to pay for a sub. I just left the PlayStation ecosystem. I await your exit. I will celebrate it. JDiz, you said he barely played Helldivers 2 and also rarely plays multiplayer. You said, I hadn't even used PS Plus most of this year because I was playing single-player games that I bought. Only now I'm back on PS Plus for Battlefield 6, which you will be paying to play online. But also a little Helldivers and Gears of War Reloaded co-op. Then you said to this person who replied that he's not going anywhere. Guys, he's going to be gone. Why? Because the nonsense, right, that Xbox has been, I say Xbox and PlayStation have been pulling in that regard. That stuff's going to get old. It's going to get old really fast. It's only if, right, people can continue to take the abuse, right, that they're going to continue. And all of this, Xbox is dead that you see on Puerto Rock's channel, that's all an act. As he has basically now admitted to us that PlayStation has no need for you from a value proposition. And I have 2 incidences where he does so. So everything else, you guys that are on PlayStation that still think Puerto Rock is enjoying the PlayStation proposition and doesn't have discontentment, you didn't pay attention. I paid attention. I know what I'm listening to. Customer discontentment. I heard it that day from this gentleman. That's how you know that anything else is just the clock ticking on when, at some point, it's going to get all long tooth. Unless, of course, it was all for show, which I don't think it was. Or they're hailing inadvertently Xbox as the better ecosystem while they play charades in front of everybody that Xbox is not good. It's either or, but Puerto Rock, you're stuck in a ruck and a hard place. That's just what it is. Unless you say, regardless, I still stick with PlayStation, even if they do not value me as a customer, I'm here for the abuse, then you need to basically go ahead and stop criticizing Xbox so that they can also abuse their own users. Because that would be pot calling kettle black. I think it's that simple. Unless, of course, it's all fun and games and, it's not that deep. It's not that serious. Shout out to Puerto Rock 77, man. Thank you so much for the comment on the Titanic. But I think, again, like I've said, a lot of PlayStation guys, you're not paying attention to how vulnerable your arguments are. Your arguments are very porous. It's easy for me to poke holes in them, and you guys are the ones doing all the work. Why would PlayStation, right, bill you money to play a game online? Why? Here's the video, ladies and gentlemen, right here, 3 months ago. He says Helldivers 2 is on Xbox, but not on PlayStation Plus subscription service. That's the second complaint. The first one, it was on some stream. The one about the, paying to play online. I remember it's a 3-minute video. In fact, so that y'all won't say I'm actually making stuff up, let's revisit it. Let me get the headphones. Let's listen. Okay? You judge for yourself. Because if you had not paid attention 3 months ago and you watched everything recently, you'd think Xbox had basically gone ahead, to commit crimes against its own users.
All right, Puerto Rock 77, your only friend, these YouTube streets, and I just want to say one thing only. Sony gave Helldivers 2 to Xbox gamers before they gave it to you. And by what I mean is they gave it to Xbox gamers before they gave it to you. You are the people who are subscribed to PS Plus Extra and Premium. You are subscribed to Extra and Premium so you can access a library of games, and one of those games is not Helldivers 2. But it's on Xbox as of
Hey, the man ain't lying.
August. So Sony gave the game to them before they gave it to the rest of the PlayStation gamers who, one, bought the console, and two, are subscribed to a higher tier of subscription services.
Yes, they literally they did that. Tell him, Puerto Rock.
Meanwhile, the Xbox cats who, you know, are not going to play this game on a PlayStation console, are not going to play this game on a PlayStation controller, and are not subscribed to a PlayStation service, they're going to play it on their console. Now, I'm not subscribed to Extra and Premium, but some of you are. And some of you didn't buy the game, you know, whatever. But if the game was added to your subscription service that you are paying for, I'm pretty sure you would have gave the game the chance and then probably done the money transaction. Sony would have gotten more players on the game from their own fan base. But no, you guys don't get to play the game. You have to buy it.
Puerto Rock, you know this argument that you used and the thumbnail on your video on this, stream, they're actually contradictory, because the $300 million that y'all are saying that Xbox lost on Call of Duty, y'all do know that they actually did make that up in subscription, of which people would have also tried the game out and, engaged in microtransactions and made money for I mean, we can use the same argument, right? But I'm not interested in that. In fact, actually, I know you're going to be a PC gamer, so actually I'll just let you just have that one, even though it's sitting right there for me to, to take.
Even though you put in more money towards PlayStation by buying their console and paying for PS Plus Extra and for those Premium, which is even the highest tier, you don't get the game. But Xbox gamers who didn't buy the console, buy the controllers, don't pay for their subscription service. They pay for Game Pass. The service that gives them day one games. So they get a service that allows them to play online and play day one games. You get a service that allows you to play online, but you don't get to play day one games, and you don't even get some of the PlayStation owned games.
Yep. Tell them.
That's diabolical, bro.
Imagine if we now take that same standard and now apply it to PC, where it's not just one game that PlayStation put on there. It's 24. If he feels that way, then I suspect that he ought to at least have a much more amplified version of that feeling to PlayStation's actions on Steam and Epic Games, where, if we actually look at it, PC gamers who don't buy the controller, who don't buy the console, get to play these PlayStation games, which, admittedly, most of them are better versions than the console ones because they support more features. They have a lot more things that are available, like widescreen support and all the stuff that Digital Foundry talks about. Again, I'm not being facetious when I say that I believe that the customer dissatisfaction that Puerto Rock has actually shown within the PlayStation side leads me to believe that he'll probably adopt the PC ecosystem. It's that simple. I could be wrong, though. But this is really compelling evidence, I gotta say. Thanks for watching. Shout out to Puerto Rock 77. Peace out.